So we have completed what are the important features of cell membrane. Now we are going to see another important layer, that is called cell wall. Cell wall. So cell wall means what? What is the meaning of cell wall, and what is the difference between cell membrane? See, the layer that surrounds the cell is called cell membrane. Then what is cell wall then? So where the cell wall is present? See, the cell wall is present only in case of plant cell. Cell wall is present only in case of plant cell, but in case of animal cell there is no cell wall. In case of animal cell, there is no cell wall. So cell membrane means it's very thin membrane, very soft. If you take in case of cell membrane, it is very soft in nature. Cell wall, see how the walls of your room are, they are very hard in nature. So in the same way, in the plant body, so in the earlier days or in the beginning days, when the seed becomes a sapling, then the sapling changes into a tree. So in this modification or in this journey, the plant will become very hard and hard, isn't it? So why it becomes hard? The reason is that because of a cell wall. So, and what are the so where this cell wall is present? In case of plant cell. Do cell wall is present in animal cell? No. So cell wall is absent in animal cell. Then what are its important functions or properties? Is cell wall is very tough in nature. Tough means nothing but hard. See, if you take the walls of our room, how the walls of our room, they are very soft or hard? They are very hard. Membrane is very thin. So as cell membrane is very thin, it is very soft in nature. And wall, so wall means, see, if you take the walls of our room, how they are? They are very hard. In the same way, if you touch the tree, if you touch a plant and if you touch a tree, plants are very soft, and if you touch the tree, trees are very hard. So why they are hard? Because of the cell wall. Then with what this cell wall is made up of? Cell wall is made up of mainly cellulose, our wood, or the wood of a tree, or the benches which are made up of wood, they all contain what? Cellulose. So what are the important functions of this cell wall? So where this cell wall is present? The cell wall is present around plant cell, not in case of animal cell. And how it is? It is very tough or hard in nature. With what it is made up of? Cellulose. See, in the beginning days, they thought that, most of the scientists thought that the cell wall is inactive in nature. Inactive means it do not have any role. See, cell membrane, we have seen the role of cell membrane. It is having different functions or various functions. In the beginning days, most of the scientists thought that the cell wall is the inactive. Inactive means do not have any role. It is not an do not have any active role in the metabolic activities of the plant. But later on, it became a clear distinction between plant cell and animal cell. Already in the first video we discussed what are the difference between plant cell and animal cell, and one of the major difference between plant cell and animal cell is that plant cell will have what? Cell wall, whereas animal cell do not have cell wall. This is a clear distinction which was made between cell, that is plant cell, and animal cell. Even the cell wall also will give a definite shape and size. Few of the properties will be similar in case of cell membrane and the cell wall. Why? Because the cell membrane itself is going to become the cell wall in future, based on the cell division. So what are the properties of cell wall? So cell wall is present only in case of plant cell. And how it is? It is very tough in nature. With what it is made up of? It is made up of cellulose. So in earlier days, they thought that, most of the scientists thought that it is inactive, but later on it became a clear distinction between plant cell and animal cell. And another important role of a cell wall is it gives a definite shape and size to the plant body. And even another important function is that it helps, the cell wall helps in plant growth, and development. So the growth and development of a plant will depend on cell wall, plant growth and development. So if you see a small sapling to a big tree or a tall tree, you can find many differences between that small sapling to a big tree. So how if you touch this small sapling, it is very soft in nature because it has a cell wall around it. Those cells are immature cells or small cells, and they all are soft in nature. But in case of a big tree, if you touch it, it is very hard in nature. Why it is very hard in nature? It is nothing but because of cell wall. The cell wall is nothing but the bark. If you take the bark of a tree, so if you remove the bark of a tree, you can find even the cell wall, how hard it is, and it is mainly made up of cellulose. So now let us recall what we have discussed in the second video. So what we have discussed in the second video, we have seen about a cell membrane and a cell wall. So cell membrane means, what is a cell membrane? It is a layer present around a cell. Then how it is? It is flexible in nature. Then next property, it gives a definite shape and size to it. The next property, it is also called a plasma membrane. And why it is called plasma membrane? The reason is that the liquid portion present inside the cell is called plasma. As the layer surrounding the plasma, it is called a plasma membrane. And with what it is made up of? It is made up of proteins and lipids. And another name of cell membrane is selectively permeable. Selectively, the name itself indicates that it allows only selected permission. So selected permeable materials. So that's what is called selectively permeable membrane. Then next we have discussed about a cell wall. Cell wall is a clear distinction between a plant cell and animal cell. And so do animal cell have a cell wall? No. Next, how the cell wall is? Cell wall is very tough in nature, and with what it is made up of? Cellulose. And earlier this cell wall is thought to be inactive. Inactive means do not have any major role in the metabolic activities of the plant, but later it has become a clear distinction between a plant cell and animal cell. And even cell wall also will provide a definite shape and size. We can see some based on the size of the tree. So shape and size of the tree depends upon the cell wall. And even another important function is that it provides good plant growth and development. For the better growth and development of the plant, what is helpful is the cell wall.